Namaste and good morning, everyone. Let's start our Thursday class. And today we are going to start a new Upanishad. So let's do the prayers first. Om Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwara Guru Sakshat Parbrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Bhu Bhavaswaha Tat Savitra Varenayam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Diyo Yo Nah Prachodayat Asto Ma Satkamya Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya Mrityorma Amritam Gamya Om Sehna Bhavatu Sehna Bhunaktu Saviryam Karvavai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahi Om Shanti 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 Om. So the name of the Upanishad which we are going to start today is Shvet Ashvatar Upanishad. Okay. We know there are several Upanishads. Most of the people, they say there are 108 Upanishads. Even though the translations of all of those are not available. But they are part of the Vedas. And what does Veda mean? Veda means knowledge. Knowledge of the truth that governs the universe. That's what we find in the Vedas. They are the textbooks which were compiled by Ved Vyasa into 4 volumes. Rig Ved, Yajur Ved, Sam Ved, and Atharva Ved. They are the very foundation of the Hindu philosophy and are considered the highest authority and the supreme means of knowledge in determining the nature of the Dharma and the nature of the Brahma. Brahma is the absolute reality. I'm sure you all know that each Ved has 3 sections. Karam Kand, Upasana Kand, and Gyan Kand. Kand means a part. Karam Kand is the ritualistic portion. When we follow the practices given in the Karam Kand, it should purify our mind. Impurities of the mind is called mal. And what are the impurities of the mind? Attachment, likes and dislikes, anger, delusion, all that is impurity of the mind. So when we follow the rituals, whether it's a daily prayers or going to a Tirth Yatra or even serving people, those are all rituals, or doing the Havan Yagya, fasting, we should see that is the mal of our mind is getting reduced or not? Because that is the purpose of rituals. The rituals also fulfill our special, or you can call it a worldly or otherworldly desires. Like a desiring an offspring. Or even means to attain a position in heaven. Rituals are prescribed for those. But that's only one section of the Vedas. Okay. The second section, Upasana Kand. There are several mantras where we learn how to worship, how to meditate. And primarily, Upasana Kand is for showing us how to remove the second problem which we have as human beings, which is called vikshepa. Distraction of the mind, restlessness of the mind. That is through Upasana Kand. If you are saying we are doing the Upasana, and if our mind is still not in our control, that means we got to learn how to do the Upasana. Through Upasana, we learn how to make this mind single pointed. So Upasanas, they promise us for the attainment of extraordinary powers, which are called siddhis. And of course, various heavenly bodies, or we can travel into the different lokas also. Those are all part of Upasana Kand. How to do Upasana, what happens, and what can you gain, if that's what your desire is. Then the third Kand, I told you, Gyan Kand. Gyan Kand contains the self-knowledge, which removes the ignorance, the avarna. I'm sure you have heard in these classes or from somewhere else that these are the three main problems us human beings have. Because of the mal, vikshepa, and avarna, we really don't know who we are. So these Vedic rishis, they told us, sure, if you have the mal at the mental level, follow the rituals. In order to concentrate your mind, follow the upasanas. And in order to remove the avarna is like ignorance. Ignorance of our true nature, there is a little veil on of the Atma. So Gyan Kand removes that veil. So it is this ignorance of our infinite nature that gives rise to our desires. The more ignorant we are, the more worldly desires we'll have. That's what the rishis say. If you want to see that how far we are on this journey, look within, see how many worldly desires you have. Because when we have the worldly desires, what do? We engage ourselves into the various actions, the karma. And result of that is what? Experience of the joy and sorrow. We feel that often joy comes and goes, but sorrow remains all the time. That is like a general feeling of most of the human beings. So that's why rishis, they said, the total fulfillment and the peace can arise only if we remove the basic ignorance. Behind all desires, all actions, all joys, all sorrows. Gyan Kand is also called the Upanishads. The word Upanishad means self-knowledge. Just remember that if somebody asks you what is Upanishad, it really means self-knowledge. Upanishad Shabden Brahma Vidya Uchyate. That's what the rishis say. We all know that any object can be known by different people by different names, but its knowledge remains the same. Like a book can be called different names in different languages, but book is a book. So the same way, knowledge takes place through a specific means of knowledge. It is called Praman. The color of an object is perceived only by the eyes and not the ears. Self-knowledge is the means that removes ignorance of the self. So that is the purpose of studying the Upanishads. So Upanishad is the means for knowledge of the self. So if somebody says, how come you are studying the Upanishads? What do you gain out of it? Hey, we get to know ourselves, who we are in reality through Upanishads. Somebody might say that how many Upanishads you will need to study to know the truth or to yourself? This question was asked by a disciple to a guru, a saint. Guru asked a question again to answer the question. He said, how many mirrors do you need to see your face? One is enough. But you may look into many mirrors, even though you need only one to find out how you look. So the same way, the study of just one Upanishad is enough to know the truth, to know the self. However, we do love to look at ourselves in every reflecting surface. Whenever there's a mirror, we like to look at our face. The same way, we like to study many, many Upanishads to learn more and more about ourselves. So just like we admire our own face when we look at the surface, the same way when we learn that, hey, I am part of God, we admire it. We can enjoy looking at the self through different Upanishads. Because each Upanishad has its own special beauty and reveals some aspect of the truth elaborately. So it is good to study different Upanishads. Upanishads are found mostly in the end of the Vedas. That's why the knowledge contained in the Upanishad is also called Vedanta. Ved and Ant. Towards the end of Veda. This Upanishad, which we are going to start today, Shvetashvar Upanishad, it is part of the Yajurveda. It has 6 chapters and 112 mantras, the verses. As we know, all the Upanishads are dialogues between the teacher and his disciples. We'll see that towards the end of this great Upanishad, in fact, in the last chapter of this Upanishad, there is a mention of the name sage Shvetashvar. He is the one who taught these highly qualified disciples. See, disciples also come in different categories. So Shvetashvar may not be the name of the sage, but a title given to him. Shvet means white or pure. And Ashva means horse, which symbolizes our senses. So that means this sage was endowed with pure senses. And we all are familiar with the senses, our eyes, our ears, our nose, our sense to taste and touch also. We may wonder, how can these senses be pure or impure? Information goes from the senses to the mind. If the mind keeps on entertaining likes and dislikes for sense objects, It is impure because it's fluctuating. Fluctuating mind is an impure mind. The mind driven by likes and dislikes is uncontrolled. Controlled mind and senses will make our life's journey comfortable and joyous. So the point being made is that this sage, this teacher, was a wise man who had full control over his senses and mind. That's what it means. All in all, you will find it is an elevating and beautiful Upanishad. Lot of information will be new to us also. Even though we have studied many other Upanishads, but still there's always there's a more and more knowledge which we can use. Okay, and some of the verses are long verses too, but we will just go through them very slowly so that you can understand them. So chapter 1. Once upon a time in an ashram, there was a group discussion among the seekers of the truth. And the topic of the discussion was the ultimate cause of the world. That's why this Upanishad starts out, Hari Om Brahmavadino Vadanti. Vadanti means ask Brahmavadino, those who discuss about Brahma, the reality, the truth. Brahmavadino Vadanti. What did they ask? They said, Kim Karnam Brahm Kutaha Sma Jataha Jivam Ken Kvacha Sampratishtha Adhishtita Ken Sukh Itreshu Varta Mahe Brahm Vida Vyavastham. Kim means what? Karnam. Karan, cause, ultimate cause. Brahma. So what is the cause of Brahma? Kutaha, from where? Samajataha, have we become? Jivam, we live. Ken, by what? Kva, where? Cha means and. Sampratishtha, do we exist? Second line, adhishtata, governed. Ken, by whom? Sukh itereshu, regarding happiness and opposite. Vartamahe, follow. Brahmavida, knowers of the reality. Vyavastham, the lower rule. Vyavastham. Those disciples, those spiritual seekers, they discussed about the reality and asked the teacher. So they're asking, because these are all questions. What is the ultimate cause of this world? Is it Brahma? Where have we come from? How do we live? Where do we exist or go after death? Oh, knowers of the reality, under whose governance do we follow the rule regarding joy and sorrow? So they have all these questions, but they have a full faith in the Guru. That's why they're saying, oh, knowers of the reality. Questions regarding the worldly matters can be answered by the worldly wise person. But regarding spiritual reality, or the matters, we should be asking a spiritually wise person. And that's what these young disciples are doing. That's why here the students came to the Guru seeking knowledge of the truth. From these questions, you can see very clearly. There are discussions regarding dharma. That's called a dharam vichar. Like duties, values, right conduct, merit, sin. That will show us how to lead a good life. Dharam vichar. But over here, these students are doing the Brahma vichar. Discussion about the Brahm, the truth. Only this kind of a discussion can help us to determine and realize our true nature. Is Brahm the ultimate cause of the world? Basically, they are asking. Question seems very simple. But there are many other questions, they are inherent in it. Is the reality the cause of the entire world? When I say reality means Brahm. If so, is it the material cause, sentient cause, or both? And what is its nature? And if the cause is something other than the reality, then what is it? And what is its nature? Another question can come up, is the ultimate cause of the creation one or many? Because we do see the creation. So it was created. What is that? Who created it? And where have we come from? And what existed before creation? Where is our origin? Did we exist or not before we came into our mother's womb? Because that's how much we know, that we were born through our parents. Did we exist before? How do we live? What gives us life? Can it be air, water, and food? But people die. We see that when there is water available, air available, food available. Can the combination of inert substances bring about the creation of life? Because by themselves they are inert. Will science and technology enable us to create life in a lab? We saw in the Katha Upanishad, the Rishi said that man does not live merely because of inhalation and exhalation, but by something else on which these two depend. You should go back in that Katha Upanishad, chapter 2, verse number 2.5. Not right now, later on. This is what we studied there. Another question in this group of questions is, where do we go after death? What is our final place of rest? Have we come from dust and go back to dust? Because some people say that may be the destination of the body, but what about the life which sustains us? into what does the creation finally merge. And then another question is, under whose governance do we follow the rule regarding joy and sorrow? Because we all experience joy and sorrow. What is the law that governs our joy and sorrow? What is the power that presides over our actions and their results that makes us happy or unhappy? That those are our experiences, constant experiences. And 1 minute we are happy, without us realizing we can become unhappy also. In any given country, the citizen will abide by the laws of its constitution. Even the lawmakers are governed by those laws. That's why we see that some governors or the mayors or other high officials, they are put into jail too. But can man-made laws govern our very existence, our joys and sorrow of nature? Does something within us govern our joy and sorrow? Or is it something outside of us? Does that factor enjoy a greater place? Adhishtan. Or you can say adhik sathan. Or a longer existence? Adhik sthiti. Adhishthita. Are we independent in creating or getting joy or sorrow? Because if we were independent, we would never be unhappy. Because we all want to be happy. We want to always be happy, but we are not. So since we are not independent, then on what do we depend? Generally, some people, or most of the people, they already have the answers to these questions according to their own understanding. People will say, yeah, we are born from our mother's womb. Food sustains us. Unto dust we return. And we are governed by the laws of the land. People are satisfied with that kind of answer. They believe that to think deeper than this about these questions is a waste of time. A lot of people will say that we would rather pay attention to some more important matters, like our careers, relationships, the bank accounts. So that means the superficial answers may satisfy some. But the seekers of the truth, these disciples, they wanted the real answers. That's why they are inquiring deeper. They want to study more, they want to discuss, they want to research, they want to reflect. That's why they came here to a wise person, a guru, to ask these questions. And they will persist till they get the answers. These are the students of Upanishads. We all know that every effect must have a cause. And cause hunting is a natural preoccupation of a human being. When we see something, we say, where did it come from? What was the cause? So over here, the students also, they are like a scientists. They are looking for the ultimate cause of the world. See, just like we have a candy and this is sweet, and we just conclude that it's because of the sugar. The same way the students over here thought that the truth, the Brahma, could not be the ultimate cause. How? Because they thought about it, they said, how can the never changing truth, which is Brahma, be the cause of this ever changing world? Because this much they knew, Brahma doesn't change. How can the non-dual and absolute truth cause all the multitude and finitude in this world? Because we know that this world is, the creative world is finite. So the students started examining other possibilities. So that's why they came to this Guru. So that's why I said these students were wise also. These were not just a first level of students. They had done their studies. From the questions, you can see that they were wise students. Let's look at number 2. Kalaha subhavo niyati yadrichaha bhutani yoni purushaha iti chintaya संयोगः एषां न तु आत्मभावात् आत्मा इति अनिशः सुख दुख हेतुः. Kal means time. Swabhavo, inherent nature. Swabhav. Niyati, the law of karma. Niyati. Yadricha, chance. Bhutani, the 5 elements. And we are all familiar with those 5 elements. Earth, water. Remember that? Fire, air, and space. 5 elements. Yoni, the cause. Purushaha, the intelligent being. Iti means thus. Chintaya, need to be ascertained. Chintaya. Sanyogaha, combination. Esham, of these. Na means not, tu means but. Atam bhavat, because of the existence of the individual self. Atam bhav. Atma, the individual self. Api means also. Anishaha, not independent. Sukh dukh hetu, being subject to joy and sorrow. Time, inherent nature, the law of karma, chance, the 5 elements, intelligence. Neither these nor a combination of these can be ascertained as the ultimate cause of the world. So neither individually nor collectively. Because of the existence of the individual self, but the individual self also cannot be the cause of the world, being subject to joy and sorrow. Over here in this verse are given the various factors which can be considered to be the ultimate cause of the world. They debated upon it. And each is being dismissed on the basis of Atam Bhav. The combination of many causes is also not, they are not the ultimate cause because of the Atam Bhav. What does it mean when I say Atam Bhav? Atam Bhav has 3 meanings. That means the above mentioned factors cannot be the ultimate cause because of their identity or oneness with the world. That means they are part of the world. They cannot be the cause. Second meaning is that these factors come into being and are subject to change. And the third meaning of Atambhav is that there exists another factor, the individual being or self, other than these factors. So the relevance of this logic becomes clear when we analyze this verse. And the word yoni can never mean cause or energy. Because if we take it to mean the cause, then it links with each factor, like a Kal yoni, Swabhav yoni. So it's not that. And we know that Kal is not an ultimate cause. Even though to us, time seems eternal. We normally say that in time, everything gets cured. Things happen in time. When we sow a seed in time, it sprouts and it becomes a tree in its own time. Sometimes time seems to be a cause at superficial level. But is it the sole cause or governing factor? Or is it one of the factors? You have to think about it. When we look at the sequence of the events, which is called a Kram Sankti sequence, it really gives us a concept of time. Without events happening in space, time would not exist. So it's not independent. Time is also a part of the creation, the cause of which is the subject of our inquiry. This is what the students are trying to point out. Also, we can see that time also appears, changes and disappears. And experience of time is often subjective. It's different in different time zones, and it's measured differently. So in the deep sleep state, there's no concept of time at all. In our meditation also, deep meditation, we transcend the time. If time itself is created, how can it be the cause of creation? This is what they are getting to with the help of the Guru. I am aware of time. You can always say that. I exist before time. I also know the passage of time. That is Atambhav. So time being dependent, transient, finite, and known cannot be the ultimate cause of the world. Okay, so this is what they are concluding. That's why the very first thing they said, Kal. The second is what? Swabhav. Swabhav is also not the ultimate cause, they are saying. Swabhav is the essential nature of a thing. It is definitely a unique property of a thing that really makes it what it is. See, just like a heat is inherent nature of fire or sun. But that doesn't mean that inherent nature has created the object or made it. So Swabhav as the cause too stands refuted due to Atambhav. So the object and its essential nature coexist and are inseparable. But by the theory of cause and effect, the cause exists before the effect. On the other hand, the inherent nature does not exist before the object. So heat wasn't there before you lit the fire. Light wasn't there before the sun. So the properties of the objects may change. See, just like a milk becomes yogurt, which has very different properties. A changing cause cannot be the ultimate cause, because we are trying to find the ultimate cause of this creation. Also, the essential nature of an object is part of creation, and the part cannot be the cause of the whole creation. So in other words, finite cannot cause the infinite. And we are aware of our properties of objects. That means there's a pre-existence of another entity other than the object and its properties. So the ultimate cause must exist before everything else. So the inherent nature of objects cannot be the ultimate cause of the world. So in this verse, we have seen the first two, Kal and Swabhav. They are not the cause. That's what I was trying to tell you. Cause of the creation. Now, next week when we meet, we'll continue with the Niyati. The nature's laws are called Niyati. And this Rishi is saying that they are not the ultimate cause either, because they seem to govern everything in the world. But we'll go deeper into it next week. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much.